So I went down on the Thursday. And the plan for Monday was obviously it had been split into 11 sites across London. Everybody knew specifically which area they were occupying. My friends were occupying outside the Department for Business and Energy. But by the Thursday, I think that had been reduced to 2 sites. On the Thursday morning, I got a text saying that my friend had left me a tent with a sleeping bag and a roll mat in St James's Park, which is like a legally occupied area. But it wasn't so much legal as the police weren't minding that we were there, and it was very like safe space for where XR were telling families to go. But by the time I got there at like 4 o'clock, St James had been cleared, so I arrived in this field with no sleeping bag as the police were like around me and shouting that we needed to leave and just piling up all the kit, which was quite terrifying because I knew that my friends had either been arrested and were currently in a police station, or had gone home because they were so exhausted that they couldn't deal with it anymore. So that was quite terrifying. We went to stay in, well, I went to like prep and just sat there and kind of like shaking. I'd done like a 6-hour bus ride. I knew nobody in this whole city, and all I knew was that the police were kind of circling and looking for people. But then the good thing about XR is they kind of stand out in London, you know, like people dressed like hikers, and quite a lot of them with like big XR stickers. So the table next to me was full of a group of Scottish people, which again stands out in London. So I said to them, I'm really sorry, I don't know where to go, and I don't have any camping stuff or anything. And they were like, I think I was kind of struck by, and this would happen to me again and again and again throughout the whole weekend, I'd say something and people would just take it at face value. So they said, okay, we're going to split into groups of 3 because Extinction Rebellion aren't allowed to move through the city right now and the police are watching out for us, so take off any kind of signs that you're with it. They put all their camping gear into a taxi, and they put my big rucksack into a taxi, and one of them drove with it to Vauxhall Gardens, which was supposed to be like they were going to stay there that night. So we did that, and then the 3 of us, we split up into 3s and we went on the tube. We couldn't talk about anything whilst we were there, and I didn't know the names, and I still don't know the names, but they kind of looked after me for that. And then once I'd set up my camp and everything, every day you get like, it's communicated by a series of apps, what's happening and what actions, and the way that Extinction Rebellion makes any decisions tends to be through people's assemblies, which is large groups of people discussing in small groups an issue and then feeding back into the main, which means it can take a little bit longer because there is, I think, a massive misconception with XR is that there's a central leader, and there's not. It's just a lot of people trying to do something better and work out the right solution. So on the Friday morning there was a people's assembly like that because obviously we'd lost all our sites and our initial plan was completely gone. So there was the discussion of what to do. So at 9 a.m. this meeting happened. 3 p.m. everybody turned up at Liverpool Street, blocked 2 roads, and they were there for the next 8 hours. And it was, I guess, a couple of hundred people just causing this kind of disruption around Liverpool Street station because there was an oil and gas summit going on. I think that exemplifies the kind of agency of XR, that they're able to, in the morning, say, what should we do, where should we go? And in the afternoon, they managed to disrupt one of the main streets in London. It's difficult because it's not that controllable if you're in splinter groups and everybody's able to act separately. I think actually it was taken initially by XR doctors, and then the group I was with reinforced that within half an hour or so. It's got to operate in separate groups because otherwise it doesn't work, because if there's one central leader, it's able to be shut down, but there's not. There's just lots and lots of people trying to do their best. So I turned up at Liverpool Street. I only got there about 4 o'clock. And there was 6 people with their arms in a barrel, and the barrel had been filled with concrete and bits of metal and foam, with the idea that if you have those 3 different substances, it's very difficult to get a saw that will cut through all 3 of them because of the different densities. So they put their arms in this barrel, like 4 pipes within the barrel, so their arms are safe and like not covered in concrete or whatever, but they have the option of clipping off, because they've got a hand cuff there and it's on a carabiner, so it can click there, so if they want they can leave whenever they want. And essentially the way that the police deal with this is for the first 5 hours, the police stand around them and they separate out all the people that aren't arrestable. You know, there's a lot of people who can't risk arrest for immigration purposes or educational reasons, or you know, just that lack of willingness, which is completely understood. So the police would progressively tell these people if they let go for starters they wouldn't have any further consequences. That was one of the offers made to them. If at any point they decided that kneeling up in the rain in the middle of a road surrounded by police with your arm like that wasn't what you wanted to do, you could unclip and there would be no further consequences. And none of them took that option, so they were there from 3 p.m. until 10 p.m. and they'd sit there for like 7 hours. I think the hardest thing is being told that what you're doing is disruptive and selfish and pointless. I think the fact that when you've got a figure of authority and you've grown up in a society which has taught you to obey and respect these people that protect you, being told by them that you're letting them down, and yet to have that strength of mind to think that actually no, what you're doing, even though it's upsetting them and it's upsetting the road and the people that are around, ultimately, if there's no upset of the current system, everything continues like normal and the next generation is helped in no way. And I think that, for that kind of strength of power, so you've got people in their 80s sat there who are like trembling because they're old, and you know, my grandparents that age and they wouldn't be able to put up with that. And then you've got people in their 20s sat there and they're university students or graduates and they're so clever and so brave and they've got so much potential. And I think this idea that the people that are being arrested are the ones that have nothing to lose is just absolutely not true. My friend was doing first aid there's a lot of like legal support in first aid that are always there when someone's in this position of arrestability. And you'd see the same people at every protest you went to, providing support. But my friend was doing first aid and she saw that these people were alone, so she ducked under the police wire and she ended up in a police station for the night and was arrested for that. A university student with a lot of potential and a lot of other things that she could be doing, but instead she's sacrificed her reputation to a certain extent. My mum came up for the day on Sunday. She was amazed by just how calm I was around the police by then, because you get so used to being told that what you're doing is illegal. There's a section 14 across the whole of London, and if you don't move now you're going to be arrested. And at the beginning when someone said that to me I'd be like, oh no, and like drop my banner and walk away. And ultimately that is always my response, because I'm not as brave as the people that would be arrested. But I was shocked by the first few times I did that, the guys next to me would turn around to the police officer and say, no you're not, you're just not going to arrest us because these people are locked onto this and there's 100 people behind us, so you are not going to arrest us right now. And I was like, stop. But they were right. The idea that, because if they'd all just dropped the banners and walked away like I did, the whole of Extinction Rebellion would fail. It relies on people taking that risk, the sheer power of people. It was sad on my final day in the afternoon, the man that I'd been with for the whole weekend, and I didn't know him beforehand, but I found myself sat next to him a lot in the roads and things like that. On the Monday afternoon he was taken because the police asked him to drop a banner and he didn't. And the way that XR says to get arrested is to go floppy, so it's not active resistance, obviously it's a non-violent movement, but he dropped to the floor when they said to him, look, if you don't let go of that banner, we're going to have to arrest you, is that alright? And he said, I guess that's how it's going to be. So he dropped to the floor. 4 of them dragged him away from the bank towards the queue of people waiting to be taken away to the police stations. I think when you look at the people sat there waiting to be taken to a police station, I think that's when you see their bravery, when they're all sat there trying their best to look like they're not terrified and trying not to shake and trying to talk to their officers to make the situation less awkward. The police officer let me give him his phone, so I got the number so I could ring and make contact with his wife and his friends and his branch of XR. 4 days previously he'd said to me, I'm not arrestable, I've got too much to lose, I've got a job on the line, I'm not here for that, I'm just here to support other people. But by the Monday he'd changed his mind. And all these tiny things that XR gets criticised for being middle class and being silly and being funny and wearing costumes and dancing and singing and meditating. All these things are so essential because it's the only way that people get through it, rather than because the enormity of the task that they have. If you're accepting that the entire system has to be overhauled and that everything that we've become comfortable and accustomed to and makes our lives so easy is going to have to change, because otherwise there's going to be mass starvation and famine and serious stuff. The Extinction Rebellion response, which is to dance and to try and have fun and keep spirits high even though they're attempting something incredibly impossible.